La 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 la. La. Okay.
Welcome back, Green Wizard.
All right. What's up, viewers? Here I am again. I am, in fact, Janus Obscuratus, and we are playing Galaxy Princess Zorana. This is a game that came out just a couple days ago, and I'm excited for it because if you heard of the game Long Live the Queen, this is by the same developers and in the same universe, apparently. But thousands of years later, where there's a space empire, that's kind of what I'm assuming. The developers said it in the same universe. So, let me just make a post here. So, yes. Galaxy Princess Zorana. Okay. And it's funny, I think I went to the Steam page and it's like, oh, the developer's streaming. Maybe it's stupid of me to be streaming when the developer's streaming, but, you know, this is a good time for me. Got to get more into streaming, so let's jump right into it. You lie in your curtained bed, trying to relax your mind and sleep. What a rotten, rotten day. Your mathematical drills made your head hurt. Your soup was served far too cold. And the heel of your favorite damson purple shoe snapped completely off on your way back to your room, making you stumble in front of your guards. Even your beloved pet. A cunning bionic hawk, a sinuous golden viper, or an all-consuming black blob. That sounds like a perfectly appropriate pet for a young girl princess. There's a lot to take in here. I can't resist the all-consuming black blob. Ignored you during feeding time. It's bad enough you had to leave all your friends and be dragged off to this floating palace just because you're the heir now. What's the point of being an imperial princess if you can't have nice things? So, interesting. Location here is deep space. Our mood in the top right is indulgent. Turn 1. Whoa. Now that is interesting. Indulgent, social, excited, daredevil, bold, determined, secretive, negative, cautious, and compliant. Yeah, I'm usually here in the lower part of the spectrum. But, interesting. So, this, okay. This reminds me of something from Long Live the Queen. I mean, obviously. We'll get into that more later, I believe. But you can see the, you can see the room. There are a bunch of shoes on the right. There's a big mirror. There's the jewelry section. There's a cute little slime plushie. Okay. Your father, the Emperor, rules over all of civilized space. How dare your shoe betray you? I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. This is not helping you get to sleep. Relax, relax. You can get another shoe in the morning. Suddenly, there's a loud chime at your door. You don't care. You're in bed. You're not answering it. To your surprise, your room lights turn on by themselves. Someone out there has the power to override your settings. Not my room settings. Your Imperial Highness, Princess Zorana, we are here to escort you to the cabinet room. Please rise and dress at once. Sideo. Go away, I'm sleeping. It's an emergency, Your Highness. It's your father. Whatever my father wants, he can tell me in the morning. Princess, your father's gone. What? I'll be right there. Mood change is now compliant. Okay. You make your way to a seat, still dazed. All around, government ministers, logothetes, and civil servants are shouting at each other in agitation. It doesn't seem real. Surely the real you is still lying safe in bed? Logothete is an interesting word. Oh, that's interesting. Logothete was an administrative title originating in the Eastern Roman Empire. In the Middle and Late Byzantine Empire, it rose to become a senior administrative title equivalent to a minister or secretary of state. One who accounts, calculates, or ratiocinates. Literally one who sets the word. All right. So that's an archaic word for a kind of administrator. Interesting. Adrift and confused, you stare up at the imperial portraits that overhang the cabinet table. Father, mother, I never really knew either of you. Your mother died when you were very young. You barely remember her. You have only pictures and her name, Imperial Consort Melania of Crystal Nova, a place outside the Empire which you have never visited. Emperor Dragoson was a busy man with no allowance for a child's demands. You were raised on the Mercan homeworlds by your governess in a series of boarding schools. You saw your father only at official functions from a distance. You've only been here in the Heavenly Palace for a season, learning to decide, and now... Speak one at a time, or we cannot hear ourselves think. Mazarin, you are His Majesty's shadow, sworn to defend him at all times. How can you not know what happened? Were you not at his side? A male Miro raises his head. The Emperor received a message from the science labs that one of his top-secret projects had made some kind of breakthrough. We went down to see it at once. One of the cabinet ministers, your father's logothete of science, immediately questions, what manner of project? Top secret. The researcher was attempting to create short-range personal warp fields. They were thinking with portals. The assembled ministers break out in shouts again with cries of impossible, but physics! You don't understand any of the technical babble. No, this is a skill test. You'll see bubbles like this throughout the game, and your current skills removed affect the outcome of the story. If you'd rather not know, you can disable test bubbles in the settings menu. No, I definitely want to know. So, of course, there was no way I was going to pass the science test. Any schoolchild knows the basics, though. Only very large ships and structures like this palace can travel through warp gates to distant parts of the galaxy. No single person can teleport from a bedroom to a boutique, even if it would be very convenient to avoid crowds. We went to view the equipment and speak with a researcher. Dragoson sent me to another lab to check on some readings. He is my first loyalty, so I obeyed him without question. Then I heard the sound of an explosion. I returned to the lab to find the equipment was destroyed, and the researcher and the Emperor had disappeared. Interesting. But there were no bodies. No. Were there records of what tests were run? What the machine was trying to do? Where it might have sent them? No. Everything was destroyed. This is a very comic book death. You know, they never find the body. I mean, either it's a comic book death, or else the Emperor left for some reason. Like, the hero... the hero in Megamind. He's like, no, not copper. Everything was destroyed. How can you know nothing? He doesn't answer. I mean, how can you answer a question like that? No bodies. Is it possible the experiment worked and your father was transported somewhere in the Heavenly Palace? That he's just injured maybe, or unconscious, and that's why he's not here? Yep. It's more likely he was thrown out into space, or sucked into another dimension, or ripped into tiny pieces and scattered like confetti. Well, keep a good thought. You wrap your arms around yourself and sink down into your chair as the ministers argue around you. All gone. Princess Zorana. What? You are the designated heir. In your father's absence, it falls to you to make decisions for the Empire. You must decide what we do next. But if the Emperor is dead, then the Empire must be informed and the official mourning period begun. However, with no body present, the procedures are less clear. Should we officially announce Dragason's death, or delay the inevitable until an investigation can be concluded? Oh, well, this is my first choice, I guess. Well, I guess let's dive right in and make a choice. Let's make the announcement. It seems like trying to hide things would just make it all more complicated. So let's make the announcement. The Empire deserves to know the truth. We should announce it. Very well. Then this celestial ministry is permanently disbanded. Thank you all for your service. You may depart. Wait, what? Your Imperial Highness, this is your father's cabinet. His ministers who made their oaths directly to him. If he's no longer emperor, then those contracts are no longer valid. Their time is over. Is that not what you wanted? They're leaving you here on your own? Interesting. I didn't think of that. I mean, I'm not an Imperial princess. I don't know how this works. But I'm just a guy. You can't expect me to know how this works. I'm just a dumb guy on the internet. Anyway, so let's keep the decision. That's correct. Make the announcements. You don't need your father's ministers anyway. I'd like some ministers, actually. Most of the occupants of the room clear out at this point, but a few remain. Sadeo, of course, is not a minister, but a Vestarch, a civil servant. It's their job to carry out your orders and see to all those fiddly paperwork details. This woman, however, is something entirely different. She is the Imperial Thresher, head of intelligence in the secret police. You've never really spoken to her before. Her reports to your father were made in private. You're staying? She chuckles, earrings swaying. Only the Emperor can grant me permission to retire, or the Empress if you claim the throne. Aren't I Empress already if my father is gone? Not until you are acclaimed by a majority of electors. You are Dragason's designated successor, but you must stand for a formal election before you can be crowned. What? This political system doesn't seem like it makes sense, but you know, it's probably this way just for the sake of the story and the gameplay, right? So they can't have it be too easy. Which means our first priority is ensuring your safety. You don't have an oath-sworn bodyguard at this point, do you? No, just regular guards. Then I volunteer to stand as your bodyguard until a proper rotation can be established. If you wish it, I will sleep in your quarters and keep you safe from harm. She wants to stay in your bedroom, your private sanctum? She's a stranger, and a stranger's entire job is to snoop and spy. But it could be safer to have her present, if you feel you can trust her. If not, you'd be volunteering for your own execution. Can you truly trust anyone in this palace? Huh. We have to start somewhere. So I'm going to say accept. I accept your offer. She says nothing, only nods. It is probably best for you to sleep while you can. There will be little time for it in the future. Sleep? Who needs that? The meeting broken up, you disperse into the hallway. Princess Zorana. I was bound by your father to give you a message in the event of his death. Yes? Focus on your studies. The skills you gain can never be taken from you, and they may mean the difference between life and death for yourself and the Empire. Build a pool of trusted advisors as quickly as possible to strengthen your power base, but always remember that your own knowledge is more valuable than what you hear from others. That's all? Nothing personal? No secrets? No final admission that he loved you? Nothing? You have been a weak and spoiled flower, but you are Dragason's child, and if you survive, you will be Empress. Spoiled? How dare... It's what your father told me to say. Learn quickly. Here you are, in complete control of your own life for the first time. What you choose to study will give you the skills to need to become Empress, or else doom you to a brutal fate. You'll show them all. You have to. I am filled with determination. Once you've slept, you must choose your first set of classes and begin your journey. Zorana can learn many skills, some faster than others depending on her current mood. Click the question mark next to a skill set for more information. Okay. When you still have actions you need to accomplish on another screen, that screen's tab will be highlit with a thingy. You can also return to that phase's screen with escape. Determined. Yeah, I just wanted to look at my mood for a moment. And the codex. All right. All right. And there's a lot of stuff to read if you want to dive into the lore. Okay, so it's funny. I'm just remembering that Alexis Kennedy just recently did a blog post where he talked about how you can get lore into the players, and there are different ways to do it. And the codex, he's like, well, the codex is okay, but it's not great. He was the developer of Cultist Simulator and Book of Hours, of course. So, and the upcoming game that he's doing. What is the upcoming game that he's doing? I'm drawing a blank. His company is Weather Factory. It's basically him and his wife, I believe. Traveling at Night. That's right. It's Traveling at Night. That's the name of the game that he's working on. So, we have a lot of skills here. So this is very much like Long Live the Queen, which was a successor. It's this game, Galaxy Princess Zorana, is the latest in a long line of games that basically, I believe, started with Princess Maker. And of course, Princess Maker 2 is the first one that was available in the West. There was I don't remember the whole story, but Princess Maker 2, it was translated but never released, but it was actually leaked, so you can play Princess Maker 2. Well, nowadays you can find the Princess Maker games, translations of them on Steam, which is pretty cool. But there have been a lot of other games, raising sims. I think this, so Galaxy Princess Zorana is done by Hanako Games, and they've done a bunch of other raising sims, like the Cute Bite, Long Live the Queen. The Magical Diary games are pretty fun. And I believe they did Cutie Night many, many years ago. Which is all to say that this is the latest in a long line of games, which means...
I said I played these games before!
So, let's get into it. So many skills. Damn. Interaction. Rhetoric, etiquette, deception. Combat. Blade, chain, and unarmed. Oh. Body control. Endurance. Pressure points. Contortion? Gunnery. Ray guns. Dart guns. Big guns. Arts. Visual, musical, dramatic. Condition. Tumbling, strength, reflexes. Domination. Sports, hunting, and wrestling. Sports isn't part of domination. What the hell does domination even... I mean, I know what domination means, but I was not expecting that word in this. Sports. Hunting, wrestling. Okay. Cool. Spaceships. Piloting, operations, layout. That's pretty easy. Emotion. Empathy, allure, and menace. Interesting. Man. If only there were classes that I could have taken. Well, charisma was always my dump stat. Stealth. Hiding, intrusion, sleight of hand. Oh, interesting. Environment. Survival, scouting, and terrain. Engineering. Repair, invention, and demolition. That's a lot of different stuff. So. But there are some... Okay. We are determined, right? We're determined. Okay. Whoa. Bonus moods. Determined and secretive. Penalty moods. Negative and bold. Unavailable moods. Excited. Studying any body control skill this turn will gain 15 skill points. So, because we are determined, we get bonuses to some skills and penalties to other skills. Unavailable moods determined. So because I'm determined, I don't want to sit down and paint. Something like that. Condition. Bonus moods determined. Right. Engineering. Interesting. Repair, invention, demolition. Wait, where's my science? There has to be science, right? Engineering is the closest we get to science, I guess. Yeah, that's not anything. Big guns, weapons too large to carry around, such as cannons or spaceship weapon systems. Very destructive, but rarely convenient. Yes. Why does she already have... Do I want to know? Daddy, let me fire the spaceship cannon. Pew! She already has hiding stealth? Alright, that's fine, I guess. Okay. So, alright. So, the gray ones are neutral. The arts are unavailable. Domination and emotion are penalized. Body control, condition, and engineering are bonuses. Okay. I'm going to save. Okay. Alright, so. Body control, tumbling, strength, and reflexes. These look like they'll be useful if I have to actually fight. Let's go with endurance and invention. You've completed basic level endurance, basic level invention. Good. Once again, you lie in your bed. This time, sleep bubbles up easily. Your mind and body are exhausted from the stress of days since your father disappeared. Only in sleep can you relax. Is there a noise? Did something just fall over in your room? You're so tired. Something bumps against your bed. You hear a scuffle and a scream. You activate the lights to find Kurundi crouched over the body of a Herkum woman, freshly dead. Her blood is smeared all over Kurundi's clothing. The assassin has been dispatched, Your Imperial Highness. Thank you. Yeah, what else could you say to that? We will remove the body and investigate her connections. I'll have someone clean the carpets in the morning. You watch in silence as Kurundi the guards carry the mysterious woman away. She was strangely dressed for an assassin. She looked much more like one of your father's concubines. Why would someone like that want to kill you? Well, that's the thing. Assassins... How do you... Assassins don't dress like assassins. If you dress like an assassin, then they'll be like, oh, that's an assassin. The assassins want to blend in, right? If Kurundi hadn't been here, how are you supposed to sleep now? Oh, well, now I'm suddenly cautious. Okay. Every turn, you'll have the opportunity to interact socially with characters who are present in your current location. At the moment, that's people in the Heavenly Palace. As well as visiting Kurundi the Thresher, you can also spend time with your pet, which will affect your mood. Your pet is a writhing, indistinct mass of darkness that likes to tear its prey apart before absorbing it. You only wish you could be that destructive, though large weapons do help. Choosing this pet gave you starting skills in hiding and big guns. My question's been answered. What is your blot's name? Giblet, Amoebus, Goo, Malacron, Ganunga Gap, Toby, Tina.
Hi, I'm Tammy.
I like Ganunga Gap. That's a great Norse myth reference. Hiding and big guns. Okay. Who is Mazarin again? Okay. Can't I? All right. All right. So that was the guy. I'm going to talk to her. Oh, okay. Head of Imperial Security, devoted to her job. No spouse or any ongoing relationships. Exemplary record. To learn any more about Corinthi, you'll need the skill to investigate on your own, but she's the head of the secret police. How am I supposed to... Grants skills, intrigue, 75. That's good. Oh, talk about security alerts. Okay. Dragason's Shadow, his most trusted personal servant and bodyguard. His deeds, words, and even his thoughts are meant to be reflections of his master's wishes, not his own. For this reason, you've never known him well. His loyalty to the Emperor is without question. Were it not, he would have long since been removed from his position and likely executed. Alright, so that's that guy. Genungagap, Ebenblot. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to Corinthi. Good day to you, Imperial Princess Zorana. My agents are not aware of any current threats to your personal safety. Well, that's good, at least. What do you find out about the woman who broke into your room? Who is she working for? Her name was Esmerai. She was a member of the Emperor's harem. According to my agents, she believed the Emperor was going to marry her and make her consort. His disappearance meant the end of her hopes. That may be what made her angry enough to kill you. How'd she get into my private room? She obtained override code somehow. We haven't been able to trace the vector. Esmerai was not a skilled hacker, and not in contact with any known subversives. Her only notable society connections were to Zolot Electra Kedro, but he wouldn't have had those codes either. Kedro, one of the twin worlds in Sector Merkel 1. That's where you grew up. You've met Zolot socially before, though you don't know him well. Does she know anybody well? No, she doesn't know anyone well. We have rekeyed all the systems, of course. However those codes leak, they'll no longer function. Huh. Well, whatever happened is dealt with now. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Alright. I talked about that. It didn't really do much. Okay. You arranged to meet your father's shadow outside his quarters. Mazarin looks rumpled, as if he hasn't been sleeping well. Or perhaps he sees less reason to care for his appearance now that your father is gone. Well, if his entire life was devoted to the Emperor, he's... to put it simply, he's going through it. Is there something you wish of me, Princess Zorana? Interaction, basic, fail. Ask about Mazarin, ask about Corinthi, ask about your father. Well, this has got to be the safest one, right? I want to talk about my father. I already told you all I can about the accident. That's not what I meant. Did he ever say anything kind about me? He didn't, did he? You were nothing to him, just a failure, a substitute. The Emperor has had only the highest of hopes for you. He believes that you are capable of greatness, that you can become a ruler more powerful than any the Empire has ever known. Oh. But you must find your own way. Perhaps if you win this election, you will make his spirit proud. If you'll excuse me, I have many preparations to make. Preparations? For what? You don't have a job anymore. Yes, of course. He was your father's shadow, not yours. His time's ended. You must go on alone. At the end of each turn, you can choose an activity which will change your mood. How do you want to prepare for the turn to come? Wait, what? Oh. Oh. So, my mood is now cautious. If I review my schedule, that will make me compliant. If I make lists of enemies, I become negative. Okay. Let me look at my skills again. Cautious, stealth, environment, engineering. But no gunnery and not good combat and spaceships. Okay. What I want is some kind of interaction. Like empathy, deception. Well, empathy, right? Understanding the emotions of others may detect lies or hidden motivations. Yeah. Indulgent or social. Interaction. Compliant or social. Okay. Alright. Now I've got a plan. I will become compliant. Mood change compliant. You visit all the major palace departments, making sure you know what they and you need to do tomorrow. The Thresher and the Vestark are waiting for you in the cabinet room. What is a Vestark? I just want to... Vestarchus was a senior Byzantine honorific dignity in use from the late 10th to early 12th centuries. The term Vestarchus meant master of the Vestae, another group of high court dignitaries. Etymologically, these terms are related to the Vestiarion, the imperial wardrobe. But despite earlier attempts, cf. Breyer, to connect the Vestae or Vestarchus with the officials of the Vestiarion, no such relation appears to have existed. So it's just another senior officer from the Byzantine Empire. Interesting. Princess Zorana, I need to speak with you. Yes, you are already speaking to me. News of the Emperor's death is traveling far and wide. I expect that many nobles and diplomats will be contacting you soon. Great, that's just what I needed. In the meantime, your father was due to make a decision on extending the recapitalization thresholds for this Fithum's accretion tax. So now it falls to you. A Fithum has got to be a unit of time, right? Like a month or a year? I don't know what that means. Economics, impossible fail, deception, basic fail. I don't have any skills yet. What do you expect me to do? I can't pass any of these skill checks. I suppose the Emperor did not consult with you on matters of high finance. He's giving me the side eye. The Vestarch regards you solemnly. If you intend to claim the throne, you need to begin making contacts and alliances. You need the support of the College of Electors in order to be proclaimed Empress. Alright, simple enough. Every elector is a noble from one of the Imperial worlds, each with their own interests and motivations. You'll need to speak to them individually to win their support and make deals where you can. Okay. You're also in need of a new team of advisors. By imperial custom, you may not rehire any minister from the previous cabinet. Well, that's inconvenient. With certain exceptions. Yes. The Thresher will always advise you on matters of intrigue. The High Pontifex will always take the role of spiritual advisor once you win her support. It's the same for your military advisor, the Star Admiral. They didn't want to immediately sack the spy master. That's a recipe for disaster, if you sack your spy master. And they also didn't want to immediately change the general, I guess, so the military has some continuity. And the High Pontifex, well, the church probably doesn't want to have their high official thrown out. So the High Pontifex and the Star Admiral aren't here right now. They have too many duties of their own to stay in the palace all the time. You'll have to seek them out. You now have knowledge skills. When you have access to an advisor, you can use their knowledge as if it were your own. Advisors will also help you train your knowledge, but a bad advisor can lead you astray. You might win an elector's loyalty by offering them a position as your advisor. It's a great honor to join the Celestial Ministry. You might also consider winning someone's loyalty by making an offer of marriage. Marriage? We're getting deep into the Suddenly I'm remembering Blackadder, the very first series of Blackadder, where they're doing where the king, Richard IV, yeah, you gotta watch the show to get the lore, but the king is like, oh, I'm going to marry off one of my... The king, of course, is played by Brian Blessed. But he's like... There's one episode where they're all about making alliances and wars with different European powers. He's like, all right, I'm going to have to marry my son, Edgar, to the princess. And the Blackadder is looking, there are all these princesses around, and he's looking in anticipation about who he's going to be married to, and it turns out to be like this 8-year-old girl. And he's like, well, all right. And they do a wedding ceremony, and the girl just can't stop giggling. It's actually, I mean, it's funny. It's actually kind of wholesome the way they portray it, where Blackadder is always like just long suffering and putting up with this child. Like, okay, here, I'll read you a story. That's fine. Anyway, marriage. Marriage alliances are traditional. Yes, they are traditional. What was the game? Now I'm thinking of playing on the NES. Well, it was a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game, right? Maybe it wasn't called that on the American release, but it was you send your daughter to marry you send your daughter to marry Cao Cao, and there's a picture of her crying. Sob, sob. Alright. Marriage alliances are traditional. Yes, that's true. But you haven't even had your adulthood rights. You're still an adolescent. Old enough to be betrothed, yes, but would you really want to barter away your future like that? Marriages are for life. As your father is there, you provide direction for the Heavenly Palace. At your command, we'll travel the Empire so you can meet with your electors. Oh, it's like so the palace is a ship. It's like Air Force One. It's all so much to take in. You have enough to worry about with your classes. Thank you. I'll speak to you again later. What should you study next? Oh. Oh. Suddenly I have more skills. Intrigue. Access the Imperial Intelligence Network, used for learning who's allied with whom, and what secrets each elector is hiding. Very useful in plotting your strategy, but beware, intelligence is not infallible. Your learning rate for knowledge skills is not affected by your mood, but by how your personal skill compares to any minister assigned to this position. But it's intrigue. Wait. Alright, compliant. Compliant? Compliant. Alright, whatever. Galactic relations. Knowledge of alien cultures. Okay. Military economics. Science.
Science!
She blinded me with science, a wide range of knowledge, including physics, chemistry, and biology. Studying science will give me 10. But there's so much to learn. There is so much to learn. There is so much to learn. Okay. Right. Hang on just a minute. I have to take care of something. Let's see here. Wait. Okay. So. Right. Okay. Yes. So. Is my stream still working? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Just checking. So. There's so much to learn. Alright. Etiquette and deception are useful. Basic level etiquette, basic level deception, good. Princess Zorana, here are the regular status reports. You eye the stack of papers with some dismay. The Imperial Harem has been cleared. All of your father's former concubines have been sent on their way with appropriate gifts and thanks. Some will no doubt wish to return for the official funeral, but for now it's safer to keep them away from the palace. We don't need any further disruption. It's probably for the best. When is the official funeral? Certain ceremonies to bless the Emperor's passage have been carried out already, but the full state funeral will not take place until a new ruler holds the throne. Until then, the Empire is guided by his spirit. This brings us to an issue which requires your attention. Mazarin, your late father's shadow, has not yet carried out the ceremony to end his life, as honor requires. Bureaucracy in imperial history. It wasn't his fault. It was an accident. There's nothing he could have done. That does not matter. The Emperor's shadow must follow him into death. Have you spoken to Mazarin? He is confined to himself to his quarters, fasting and vigil. He claims that he's waiting for the Emperor's body to be found before holding the ceremony. Hard to cut your throat at your master's feet when the feet are missing. Is that supposed to be a joke? Mazarin's loyalty is not in question, but the Emperor's physical form may be forever beyond our reach. What are your commands, Your Highness? Well, the question is, am I going to be the enforcer of honor, or am I going to let this guy, pursue honor in his own way? I think I'm gonna do it can wait for now. If he wants to wait, he is allowed to wait. I'm sure Mazarin would rest easier if we could find the Emperor's remains. Until we have final proof of the Emperor's fate, or a new Emperor takes the throne, it's not a dishonor to wait. Very well then. You gather up the papers and hurry away to your room before you can present it with any more problems. In your room, you check your messages and discover you got some mail from some of your school friends. We got mail from some of our school friends. Oh, I didn't... Okay. Of course, the news must be reaching across the Empire by now. It's been a season since you've seen any of your old friends, since your father called you away to the Heavenly Palace and named you heir in your brother's place. Your brother's place? Wait, I have a brother? Wait a minute. Heir in your brother's place. And her thoughts were that she was a substitute. So, something happened to the brother. Either he died or there was a scandal. And so, she was named heir. Okay. At school, your two dearest friends were Xenia and Vasily. Xenia loves gauzy dresses that blow in the wind to make her look like a dramatic heroine. She's fascinated by rumors of magic and alien powers and knows more about your Novan heritage than you do. Xenia was also a far better student than you were, especially when it came to computers. She loves finding out secrets and insists the crystal she keeps by her keyboard gives her special hacking insights. She's enthusiastic, bubbly, and a bundle of energy. This is the kind of thing that could be shown rather than told. Vasily, on the other hand, is much more laid back. He's handsome, artistic, and prefers to charm his way out of situations rather than do any actual work. He's quite intelligent when he puts his mind to things, but he'd rather use that intelligence to have a good time. Vasily always had devoted fans following in his wake, and he was kind to all of them, but never seriously in love. As far as romance went, you had a crush on... everybody! Variety's the spice of life, after all, and it was fun to flirt with your friends. You really miss them. For now, though, your social interactions are limited to the palace. Was that a... thing, what I'm able to romance kind of question? I think it might have been. Okay, interesting. If I am good enough at media/bureaucracy, I can denounce somebody. Oh, we're really getting into it now. Or I can survey, whatever that means. How's it going, Karundi? My agents are not aware of any current threats to your Imperial safety. Good. I could talk to Mazarin, but... Wait. Compliant, indulgent, social... Okay. You tear apart chunks of meat and throw them to the blot, watching them just slowly dissolve in its burbling grasp, but only were so easy to make all your problems disappear. Negative. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright. Can I stay at negative? I don't know. It doesn't look like it, but I'd like to go to secretive. Let's go to secretive. Write in diary. You hole up in your room to record your most secret thoughts into your private diary. At the end of the turn, you can direct the Heavenly Palace to warp to a new location in the Celestial Empire. You must travel to each location to interact with their local electors during the social phase. Under each pinned location, you can see the votes up for grabs in that sector. A dot indicates an unassigned vote. A check mark shows a vote supporting you, and a X shows a vote supporting you. Right now, the Heavenly Palace can move only one warp gate jump per turn. You can travel to any of the 4 points directly connected to your current location. Additional movement can be unlocked with science! You can view more of the map by dragging with the mouse. If you choose to stay put, you receive bonus social action on the following turn so you can talk to more people. However, there aren't many people to talk to in deep space, so you should probably pick a new destination. Okay. Oh. Well, it looks like there are a lot of electors over here. Merca 1, the twin worlds, tightly locked and sharing a common atmospheric envelope, were the birthplace of the Celestial Empire. That doesn't seem physically possible. That doesn't seem physically possible. But whatever, you know. The gas giant Kier traces out a slow orbit in the cold depths of the Merca system. Alright, let's go to here. Whee! Whoop. Entering the Merca 1 sector. We have a problem. No, really? There's always a problem. Mazarin has disappeared. What? He stopped responding to messages. When he overrode his security lookout on his quarters to see if he'd done his duty, we found them empty. How can an important political person, the Emperor's own shadow, just disappear out of the palace? Weren't you watching him? You never ordered surveillance on Mazarin. You said he was completely loyal. Your Highness, my agents have been more concerned with your safety than with the safety of a shadow who is due to enter eternity in the near future anyway. Well, did he die somehow? Did he make another warp portal to follow my father? On last reported sighting, he was headed for the hangar decks. It seems likely that he smuggled himself out of the palace on a spaceship. As the Emperor's shadow, Mazarin was trained in a variety of techniques. Stealth, surveillance, infiltration, hacking. He's quite hard to track. Has he gone rogue to save his own life, or is there more to the story? I don't think he would go rogue to save his own life. He strikes me as the kind of guy who would commit ritual suicide if he, if he were sure that the Emperor had died. But he's probably blaming himself, and he's probably going on a search for the Emperor. That's my take on it. At this point, who knows? Maybe he killed the Emperor. Maybe he's looking for the Emperor. Maybe he doesn't want to die. No, maybe he's looking for the Emperor. That seems the most logical choice to me. Maybe he found out something about the experiment. Maybe he's trying to throw himself to a warp gate to join the Emperor. If he took a one-man shuttle and threw it into a warp gate, he would be obliterated without causing any harm to the palace. Speculation. Princess Zorana, it falls to you to make decisions in Dragoson's place. What is your official response to this situation? Well, I would like to know what he's up to. But is it like a waste of resources? I wonder. My current theory... I wonder. Let's go ahead and do nothing. Why not? It's just a game, right? Do nothing. I don't want to draw attention to what Mazarin's done. It could be a scandal. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Let everyone forget. Most likely we'll never hear from him again. Very well. At last they leave you alone to plan your class schedule. Some part of me is saying that was probably stupid, but here we are. Stealth. Hiding, intrusions. What is, intrusion. Picking locks, climbing walls, entering buildings. Yep, good. Sleight of hand. Magic tricks, pickpocketing, distracting attention, anything that requires nimble fingers. Interesting. Once again, intrigue is going up. Body control, pressure points, contortion, hiding. I really have no idea, but contortion and sleight of hand. Okay. There are more messages of sympathy waiting for you in the mail queue. These condolences are labeled from your Novan family. What family? You don't know anything about your mother's relatives in Crystal Nova. Since she died, they've never visited or reached out to you in any way, as far as you know. They might have sent something for her funeral, but you were very young and you don't remember the details. Oh. Are her parents still living? Did she have siblings? Do you have cousins? You wonder for a moment, then decide it doesn't matter. Crystal Nova is no part of your life. You're dedicated to the Celestial Empire. It's almost insult that they would reach out to you now, considering. And then it hits you. This message isn't from some unknown cousin, it's from your brother. Prince Voshkod, your older brother. Like you, half Merkin and half Novan. Unlike you, he held responsibility from a young age. He was named heir to the Celestial Empire upon his birth. He blazed a trail through the top Scholariums and led his squadron in military service. And then he turned traitor, stole a fighter, and defected to Crystal Nova. Ex-Prince Voshkod has a warrant on his head if he ever dares to return to Imperial space. You haven't heard from him since. You miss him, or you're glad he's gone? I miss him. Your ages and different upbringings meant you weren't as close as some siblings. But he was still your brother. He used to visit you on Kedro and tell you stories. He escorted you to balls when you were too little for a proper partner. More importantly, if he were here now, then you wouldn't have to deal with all these politics. Voshkod was supposed to be the heir, not you. But he betrayed the Empire and ran away. You don't even know why. You don't have time to think about this now. You're an Imperial princess. You're busy. You're not even going to read the email? Okay. When you enter a new inhabited sector for the first time, that term's social phase will be a reception to allow you to meet the local electors. Mercup Prime, the Twin Worlds, Kedro and Andro, the heart of the Celestial Empire, your home. In many ways, your childhood felt like an exile. You were raised on a small Kedro estate in the care of your duenna. While your brother was there, you were never called on to attend your illustrious father in the Heavenly Palace. You were the second-string child, unnecessary and out of sight. And yet, you were an Imperial princess, attending school with other children of wealth and power. Every Tresson you received invitations to anything from ritual sacrifices to operatic competitions. This clifftop table is nothing new. You've walked these halls before, you know what shoes to wear. Tonight, you're the guest of honor. Every person of rank in the Twin Worlds has lined up to greet you and offer you their sympathies, their respect, and a ceremonial gift. There's no time for anything more, not so many waiting for even a moment of your attention. It is, of course, the 6 local electors who are uppermost in your mind. 3 from Kedro and 3 from Andro. This single sector is the pivot for the balance of power in the Celestial Empire. However, you cannot seek them out. You must wait for the queue to proceed as tradition demands. It's all very stuffy. Oh, I should have studied etiquette, I guess. You'll be trapped standing in one place for hours. You can't spend time with anyone you like or avoid anyone you loathe. By the end of the night, your feet will declare war on your knees. The primizers of the Twin World take precedence, followed by the Kefales. They bow, they kiss the air above your hands, they present you with an array of identical platinum coins stamped in your father's image. It's some time before the first 8 electors reach the head of the queue. Zolat of Kedro. You recognize him easily, he dresses for that effect, but you've never known him well. Too old to have been your friend, too young to have been a schoolmate's parent. Zolat's first husband has passed into eternity. He is here alone. He also had some kind of connection to Esmerai, the woman from your father's harem who tried to murder you in your sleep. There's no proof he was involved in any way, but he did know her. Well, I'm not going to throw him out. This is not the time to make a scene and antagonize an elector who might be innocent. He bows to you, wings fluttering with practiced charm. Your Imperial Highness, may the gods bring you favor. He says nothing more than that, merely offering his coin to your attendants and withdrawing. You can't tell how he feels about you. I studied empathy. Oh well. The next elector to approach you is Krovos of Andro. He is the only one of the cohort that you've never met before, for the plain reason he was far too young to take on the responsibilities of the position, and has never been invited to any formal gala. You vaguely heard about the death of the regent of Andro's child elector last season, but shouldn't someone else have been appointed to the position? For Krovos to be here alone implies he has stepped into the full role. There is precedent for allowing adolescent heirs to take up positions when necessary. You yourself have not had your adulthood rights, but Krovos is only a child. It's most unusual. Hello, Your Highness. How are you? His manners might be acceptable at a child's party, but they're totally wrong for this occasion. He ought to be addressing his Imperial Highness. Yeah, let's... I just failed the etiquette. I'm not going to correct him if I fail the etiquette. He's such a little boy, younger than you, and he's all alone. You can be honest. I'm very well, thank you. He grins and hands over his coin. That guy does not look quite right. That boy ain't right. I mean, that... Also, is this a scarf? It's got tentacles. What kind of a scarf has tentacles? It's not even a joke. What kind of a scarf has tentacles? Happy birth, Star. It's not my... Never mind. The little boy wanders off, his task complete. Can't tell how he feels about you. The next elector who approaches is Vater, also Vondro. He's an older male who's never married and has no children you know of. He's always seemed kind. Your Imperial Highness, it's my great pleasure to see you here tonight. I hope to see you carry on the legacy of both your parents. Both? Did he know my mother? Of course he must have, better than I did. He bows, offers up his gift, moves out of the way. You can't tell how he feels about you. Yes, okay, I get it. I should have studied more empathy. After a few other senators have come through, the next elector to approach is Lukamir of Kedro, scion of a long line of politicians and very familiar to you. The academy you attended until recently lay within the territory he represents. He was a frequent speaker at graduation ceremonies. Lukamir is in attendance with his wife, both impeccably dressed save for his ever uncontrollable hair. I don't know, his hair looks pretty good to me. He looks at you stiffly, then bows, offers up his coin, and withdraws without speaking a word. That's worrying. You can't tell how he feels about you. Yeah. The next lecturer to appear before you is Ixil of Andro. She's notable in Twiddle World society for her large number of acknowledged children, one of whom attended your academy a few forms ahead of you. You were hoping Fira would be here tonight, but there's no sign of her or her siblings. But then these are the guests of highest prestige. Heirs and offspring ranked lower might be further back in the queue. Ixil stands by her husband's side, smiling at you. Hello, Your Imperial Highness. You're looking well under the circumstances. We're very sorry for your loss. I know this time may be very difficult for you. Please call in my household if you have any need. Thank you. They present their gift to you and leave, smiling. You can't tell how she feels about you. Yeah. The last of the electors to make an appearance is Milan of Kedro. You're surprised to see him attending alone. Perhaps his wife is unwell. She is much older than her husband after all. Equally unusual, Milan appears to be entirely sober, which is not his typical demeanor at social gatherings. Perhaps this is a show of respect. Your Imperial Highness. He thumps the fist to his chest. Glory to your line. Cool, thank you. You nod in acknowledgement, and he hands over his ceremonial coin. Until another meeting. He marches away with purposeful motion, his back straight. Yeah. Let me guess. I can't tell how he feels about me? You can't tell how he feels about you. Right. That's the last of the electors, but certainly not the last of the guests. A long evening stretches ahead of you. Of course, there is one more vote to be cast within the sector. However, its holder is not the sort of person who can be expected to wait in line to pay her respects to you. If you wish an audience with the High Pontifex, you will have to approach her as a supplicant. Oh, great. For now, you must raise your chin and look regal. Now that you've met the electors of the region, you can contact them privately during future social phases in this sector. Brood somewhere quietly or organize your closets. Hang on a minute. Let's look at my skills. Compliance social. Indulgence social. Penalty modes determined. Penalty boons, negative, determined, excited. What does negative give me a bonus to? Oh, gunnery. if you're negative, You like shooting guns. Okay. Well, I don't really want to... What else does negative... Oh, arts. Brood summer quietly. Alright, let's go for determine. You sort through your belongings, carrying some away to storage and organizing others to be more convenient for your use. It helps to clear your head. I'm now filled with determination. Yeah, we're gonna stay put because we want to talk to these people. Your screen is chiming insistently. Someone in your context list is trying to call you. Hello? Hello, Zorana. Vasily, hello. Ksenia pushes her way into view. Zorana, we're here to support you in your hour of need. Well, we're not here yet. I mean, we're here, but we're not there here. But we could be if you want. Huh? What she's saying is that we would like to visit you in the Heavenly Palace if that's not an imposition. You shouldn't be all alone at a time like this. And you shouldn't have to deal with entertaining us or trying to look the right amount of sad if that's just more stress for you. You know, I like that. That is a very intelligent thing to say. You shouldn't have to deal with entertaining us or trying to look the right amount of sad if that's just more stress for you. However, if you would enjoy the distraction and the hugs and the chance to show off all your new stuff, then we will happily fly up to see you. Do you want to see your friends? They, at least, don't want anything political from you, probably. But you're still pretty overwhelmed with everything you need to manage here. Do you have time to play hostess? This is interesting. You know, my first thought was wondering, what can they offer me? Like, wasn't Vasily really intelligent? Could he be one of my advisors? I wonder. I wonder. I wonder. I wonder. We should have a quiet visit. I would love to have you visit, but it may not be that exciting. Everything's in turmoil around here. That's fine. We're happy just to be with you. We'll see you soon. Right. Tumbling. Gymnastic skills. Balance, falling without hurting yourself, jumps and flips may help you to climb with parkour techniques. Parkour! Anyway, if I get into a fight, I want reflexes. I don't want to get into a fight. Reflexes and tumbling. Because it... You know, the funny thing about this game, there's so many skills. And, you know, every turn you get just a few points. So it's like... There's so much stuff to learn. But the story seems to be moving on at a breakneck pace. At a breakneck pace. This story is going on. You wait eagerly for your friends to disembark. Zorana! She runs up and throws her arms around you to hug a greeting. Vasily follows more sedately, not laying a hand on you in this very public environment. How are you? Have you been sleeping okay? You look tired. What have they done to you? She fusses over your hair while you try to explain about the election and the need to assemble a team of advisors. That must be very difficult, putting your fate in the hands of strangers you cannot trust. It's funny. That thing that he just said, that makes me suspicious. Or am I just paranoid? But I don't know. He's like, that must be very difficult, putting your fate in the hands of strangers you cannot trust, unlike friends that you can trust. Yeah, hey, that's a marvelous idea. What is? We could be your advisors. I know a lot about other galactic cultures, and Vasily knows all about art and stuff. Then you'd have people on your team that you trusted. Also, if you appoint us to your cabinet, then we'd be assigned quarters in the palace. We could stay here longer. Otherwise, we can only visit for a tresson. I don't know. Don't decide anything right away. We would be happy to help, even if it's only for a little while, but you have many responsibilities. If you want to make those plans, we can talk later. He has a very soft touch. That's right, that's right. For now, you need to show us around your palace. Okay, there's a lot of, Okay, alright. Who is Athexe? Oh, she must be the High Pontifex. Now, what do these little icons mean? I think the crown means that they are in the palace, right? The star means they're on the planet or whatever. This icon must be a ballot icon. They're electors. What is this here? I don't know. Athexe. Opinion of Zorana unknown. Analyze voting history unlocks at Imperial History 30. High Pontifex of Merca. Okay. I need more empathy. How are we doing, Corindy? Alright, we're doing okay. So, most of the electors seem to be okay with me, at least. I wasn't able really... I could not tell how they felt about me. But, well, this guy was very perfunctory. He just said his thing and then he left. This guy I don't even remember. He was polite, I believe. Vatar was also polite. Milan was almost like... he almost reminded me of a Klingon. He's like, "Glory to your line, princess!" Whoa! Ixel is very motherly. Krovos seems to be going through it. He looks like a child under pressure. Look at those bags under his eyes. But he did seem to be polite to me. He was kindly disposed to me, at least. So, polite, kindly disposed, motherly. He was like happy to talk to me. He was happy to talk to me, but he was just kind of said his thing and then left. So wait a minute. All right. Voting status undecided. Alignment. Enemies, allies, opinion unknown. Investigate background, explore social network, negotiate, offer cabinet position, propose engagement, charm, and flatter. Huh. Okay, but, investigate background. Negotiate. So that's what all these little icons mean. So I can offer cabinet position or do an art lesson. One of your best friends from school. Handsome, artistic, very popular. He is intelligent but doesn't like to put in extra effort in if he doesn't have to. Huh. Friendly. Offer cabinet position, art lesson. So it seems to me that, well, it's funny. I can make someone my advisor, and then I get to use their skills for my own. But there's something about you should always trust your own skills more than somebody else's. Huh. Still, having an advisor with their skill is better than having no skill. And I have so many skills to train. Jewelry, gauzy dresses, and romantic fantasies. Computer lesson. Okay. One thing I need to do is I need to investigate her background. All Merkin priests sever ties with their families when they join the Sakra. They can never marry or have children, and are not meant to play any part in house politics. However, fondness and friendship sometimes remain. According to records, Athexe originally hailed from a wealthy trader family and pledged herself to the priesthood as a young adult. She received distinctions at Scholarium, was never engaged, and had no known connections with any of the electoral dynasties. Athexe rose through the ranks as a servant de Kylo, one who watches the sky for auspices. As a young woman, she was often called upon to preside over ritual sacrifices. However, she chose to step back from public ceremony, busying herself in the bureaucracy and internal debates of the priesthood. Upon the death of previous High Pontifex, a sacred council was convened to decide upon his successor. The details of that process remain a divine mystery known only to the elders of the faith, but the final decision must be unanimous. The Athexe's rule is unchallenged. They call it the divine coin flip. As for her personal life, Athexe has maintained long-term connections with multiple younger priestesses. Those of the faith are not required to be sexless, only unmarried. Okay. Well, you know, fine. As long as it's consensual, right? Okay. I used one of my things, so... I have to, Wait a minute. Votes. Whoa. Oh, alright. Sorry. I just did a thing. Okay. Votes pledged to Zorana. Do I need a majority? Do I need a simple majority or a 2/3 majority? It doesn't really say. The imperial standard for larger periods of time is the Fivum, which is slightly less than 5 Novan years. A Merkin reaches adulthood after they've completed their 4th Fivum. Fourth Fivum. There we go. There are 30 votes. Do I need a simple majority? Do I need more than 50%? Oh well, we gotta start somewhere, so... Okay. But I don't have any my skills. I don't have any empathy, so I don't really like... Alright, let's go ahead and make these people our ministers. You bring Xenia inside to show her around. So this is what the cabinet chamber looks like. Somehow I thought the walls would be more dark and mysterious. Are you sure you want to join? To be seated at the heart of all your secret government deals? Of course! Then I'm happy to have you as my external curator, head of galactic relations. She squeaks with joy and kisses you on the cheek. You've elevated Xenia to the position of external curator. She will now travel with the palace. She grants Zorana a galactic relations seal of 30. That is not very much. Okay, so that was a social thing. That took up a social turn. Okay. What am I saying? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Xenia. Well, it's a Polish name. Okay. I feel like I've heard that name somewhere, but I can't think of it now. Whatever. Apparently there are lots of people named Xenia. Although this is Xenia with an X, whatever that means. Let's go with bold. You visit the palace guard and arrange to accompany one of the number on patrol. Alright, I still have so many people to talk to. Let's stay put. You make your way to the cabinet room, yawning. Vasily left late last night, but Sideo dragged you out of bed first thing in the morning for an important meeting. We have received a message from the Star Admiral. Alright, you need to meet with him and discuss your candidacy for the throne. He doesn't have an official electoral vote, but as the head of the Imperial military, his support, or lack of it, will affect how others see you. You definitely want the head of the military on your side, or else you're having a coup on your hands. He reports that an Iskvitel has been sighted far past the Draug system in unaffiliated space. Right, what? Oh, Galactic Relations, Ksenia student success. Iskvitel are something like giant space moths, like Mothra. They cluster around stars to feed, blocking out the light. A swarm of them plunged the Novan homeworld into an ice age, nearly wiping out their civilization. That was a long, long time ago, but it's hard to forget. Unfortunately, as space-dwelling organisms, they're impervious to most damage and nearly impossible to kill. The creature is not currently on a direct course for Imperial space, but their movement patterns are unpredictable. It could approach Draug. It's a single Isvitel, and the Draug system has no planets to threaten. The danger is not high. Admiral Yakao waits your instructions. Spirituality? What do you want the Star Admiral and his flagship to do? Spirituality? Spirituality? Something is going on there. Alright, take up position in the Draug sector. We need to monitor the situation. Tell the Admiral to take up position in the Draug sector and keep watch. Very well. I feel like that was dumb. Alright. Wait a minute. Your learning rate for knowledge skills is not affected by mood. That's right. Okay. So, I could learn a bunch of galactic relations. Cool. Domination. Sports, hunting, wrestling, combat. Alright. Just to give myself a little bit of combat skill and operations. You will need some piloting skill to be able to take a ship out by yourself at all. Do I need to do that? Okay. But I think operations is useful. I have no idea. I'm just guessing here, so let's go ahead and do it. Basic level unarmed combat, basic level operations. Good. Okay. Where's Vasily? Alright. Wait. Where are my moves? How do I... Empathy, indulgent, and social. It's going to be difficult to get all the way over there. I really want empathy, but... Alright. How do I... Can I charm... I gotta get over to social. But there are these people. I need to at least talk to them. So, I don't know anybody's background. Alright, Ixil seems sympathetic to me. Ixil is in many ways an unremarkable elector. She comes from a respectable family, but not a noteworthy one. She carries out her required duties, but is rarely present in the Imperial Comitia, outside of major events or strongly whipped votes. She is considered religiously devout, but makes her observances at temples within her regions of Andro. There is no record of her ever having been admitted to the presence of the High Pontifex. Among the Merkin nobility, Ixal mostly stands out for her large number of children. You know at least 6 of them. What you never realized until now, though, was how many of Ixal's babies died during infancy due to genetic defects. Any competent fertility lab could have detected and prevented those problems. She must have been relying solely on natural conception. However, while others might agree or disagree with her position, it's not a secret and not a scandal. Fira, one of Ixal's daughters, attended the Ishinka Academy with you, though she is a bit older and was in a different form. You were never close friends, but you did admire her. You haven't heard anyone mention her recently. Huh. Now that was an interesting little tidbit of world building there. Interesting. Let me see. What else do we do now? Religiously devout, but has never been to the High Pontifex. Huh. You dig into the background of Vater. Vater is an older male with a reputation for calmness, wisdom, and common sense. He's often regarded as a mediating influence capable of helping different factions reach agreement on issues. He's never married and has no acknowledged children. Vater does have a long-term romantic partner, a male Murthan who is neither spouse nor concubine. Private records show that they once investigated a marriage license but were determined to be genetically incompatible and unable to produce legitimate children together. Despite these difficulties, they've remained together for many films, and neither has been seen to take on any other romantic involvement. Vater once borrowed a large sum from his district's tax funds to use for personal home redevelopment. When questions were raised about this, he apologized and paid back the money. No charges were ever filed, but there are hints that a few bribes may have been paid to avoid closer scrutiny. He has skeletons in his closet. Blackmail option unlocked. Okay. I just wanted to know about him. Well, he wouldn't be interested in engagement with me. Well, he might be, but... Investigate background. Lukemir has lived a life of wealth and privilege. Not so much as an imperial heir, of course, but then much of your childhood more resembled an exile than a political education. Lukemir's family have excellent connections. He's been embedded in Twin World society since before he could walk. You're actually distant cousins multiple times by some number of directions. Just enough for his family to be said to have imperial ties. Not enough for it to count for anything. Most nobility is connected somehow if you go back far enough. Lukemir attended the finest academies, but his grades were haphazard. He excelled in languages, literature, and debate, but not so much at science or calculation, and he was known for skipping classes and handing in late assignments. His talent with words always smoothed over there any difficulties. Charisma is OP. At Scholarium, he was known to be part of an exclusive secret society known as the Brotherhood of Bones. Their practices remain largely hidden from non-members, but they were reported for both wild parties and heretical experimentation.
Science!
Heretical experimentation. That implies that certain types of science are heretical, and that people might want to experiment with it. During Lukemir's student season, a young scholar from a lower-class family died mysteriously on campus. It was rumored that he had perished while attempting to carry out a sequence of dangerous tasks in order to win admittance to the Brotherhood, but they denied having any such entry rituals. Hazing, yep. As an adult, Lukemir is now respectably married. He and his wife are patrons of many worthy causes, and he's a motivational speaker for schools and businesses. They have no children so far. Lukemir is known to be a flirt and admirer of many, but has never been caught in any scandalous affairs. Blackmail option unlocked. Yay! Alright, let's go over here. Daredevil. Any sufficiently large building develops disused areas, mysterious back rooms, and long-lost storage. You never know what you might stumble into. Alright, we're going to stay on Merca. Your Imperial Highness, a request for aid has been sent to the Heavenly Palace by our embassy in Chikakuk space. The Chikakuk are a physically menacing species who originated on a high-gravity homeworld. They are large and strong, with dark blue skin, horned heads, and long tails which they can use like whips. They don't often visit Imperial space, but they do a great deal of trade through the Tharkan sectors. They have apprehended a Tharkan merchant, a citizen of Svargus, and are holding him on charges of smuggling recreational drugs through their space without paying the proper fees. Yeah, it's always about money, right? It's like smuggling, recreational drugs, nobody cares, but if you don't pay the right fees, then you're in trouble. Okay. The charges appear to be valid. The Chikakuk wish to sentence him to a lifetime of hard labor. The merchant is pleading for your intervention. Lifetime enslavement seems like a harsh punishment for not paying taxes on the shipment. Shouldn't he just have been fined? Well, this is weird because my economics have failed, so I have no idea if this is true or not. What is your response? You're obviously nowhere near the situation. What can you actually do about it? Send legal aid to the merchant. Negotiate with the Chikakuk. Make a threatening statement. This is a Tharkan problem. Well. Alright. Make a threatening statement is not going to work, because I do not have menace or media. This is a Tharkan problem. That seems like I'm passing the buck. The Tharkans will not be happy with me. Negotiate with the Chikakuk. I could do that, I just don't have any skills. So, send legal aid to the merchant. That sounds like an easiest problem. All we can do is send a legal advocate to assist the merchant in the Chikakuk court. He has to face the law. You're not about to start a galactic incident, especially when he's guilty anyway. I mean, that is a good point. Very well. Have a good day. Sadeo never gives me any... he's always the poker face. He never gives me any indication about whether I'm doing well. What can we study this time? Survival, scouting, and terrain. Alright, let's do scouting, and... Well, maybe I should get... No. Maybe I should get started on doing intrigue. Okay. Alright. You dig into the background of Milan. Milan was a golden child with a secure family fortune. He was a good but not exceptional student, with much of his attention at Scholarium devoted to music and athletics. He performed in an operatic ensemble and competed at a planetary level in glide jousting. Okay, cool. Fortune's blade soon cut the other direction. Milan was critically injured in a sporting accident and spent several seasons in medical rehabilitation before he could walk again. While he was out of action, the family fortune suffered a severe setback, with vast sums lost on a failed investment. Milan's father suffered a nervous breakdown and retreated to permanent seclusion. Milan's mother cut him off from the family funds as soon as his health was secure, claiming there was simply too little left to go around. It was at this point that Milan's drinking problems began. Dang. That's quite the reversal. Milan married a rich elderly widow and began campaigning for his own advancement. He was not a hereditary elector, but won the popular support when the seat came vacant. From shattered dreams, he has rebuilt himself into personal success, but he rarely seems happy about it, especially when he's drunk. Milan has no children, but his wife had a daughter from her previous marriage, Eterli, who is very near Milan's age. She's also married, but spends a great deal of her time alone with Milan in secret. They may be carrying on a scandalous affair. Possible. Milan's wife died just this season, which is why she did not attend your reception. Was it natural causes? It's certainly convenient for Milan and Eterli to have her out of the way. This also means that Milan is once again available for marital alliances. Proposal option unlocked. Blackmail option unlocked. Oh boy. This game is, it's really giving me the feeling of getting further and further into an abyss of galactic politics. Because it's like the more I learn about this, the more it's like, oh no, what now? Everything is so messed up. Also, what happened to Vasily? I want Vasily as my advisor. Computer lesson. Oh, you know, well, wait a minute. Computer lesson? What? Wait a minute. What does that do? What does that do? Xenia sits you down for a crash course on computer handling. Your operation skill increases. Oh, okay. Operations. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sure, that's fine. What is up with Krovos? You dig into the background of Krovos. Krovos' short life has been marked with more misfortunes even than your own. He was an only child whose parents were both killed in a transport accident. Krovos, still very young, was confirmed as a future elector, and his guardianship assigned to a minor noblewoman as regent. This new guardian chose to educate Krovos at home rather than send him to a school. As her own children were already adults, she purchased a child from the orphanage to serve as his playmate. This was considered to be a great act of charity and kindness. Wait, what? 2 seasons later, that child's body was found face down in the estate's Glowmoss pond. It was recorded as an accidental drowning, and as the child had no family to raise complaints, the case was quietly closed. Official records, however, suggest that the child had been beaten before death. See, this is what I'm saying! Every time I delve into this, it's like, ah! Most recently, the regent held a family gathering to which Kronos was not invited. Krovos. Not Kronos, but Krovos. Krovos was not invited. He was left at home with the servants. At that gathering, a meal was served with poisonous mushrooms mixed into a salad, killing all but the regent's eldest daughter, who hated salad and didn't eat any. The courts are still debating whether the cook or the daughter is to blame, but it was not socially acceptable for her to take over Krovos' guardianship while under such a shadow. In the end, it was decided to let Krovos assume direct control of his inheritance despite his young age. Some believe Krovos to be cursed, or perhaps blessed, by the touch of death himself. Already there are small cults within his territory that revere him as an avatar. Others see him as the victim of a scheming family who hope to usurp his electoral control, only to be brought down by their own plots. Yeah, that would be my take on it. The victim of a scheming family brought down by their own plots. In any case, his name is already so marked with suffering and scandal that it's hard to imagine any blackmail attempt having an impact. Imperial history student fail. Here, spirituality student. I'm really seeing a bunch of imperial history checks. Dang, this is complicated. How do I learn imperial history? Imperial history. I need an advisor. Where can I find an imperial history advisor? Alright. Put a pin in that. Let's get excited! Play paddleball! You visit the enclosed courts to smack a ball around with a handheld paddle, bouncing it off the many slanted surfaces at high speeds to make it ricochet into scoring targets. I'm now excited! Alright. We're gonna stay on Merca for a while. Good morning. This guy. It's never good news with this guy. We must now discuss the matter of the Jubilee holiday. The celebration of my father's birth star rising. As we officially have no emperor at the moment, it would not be unreasonable to postpone the Jubilee until after a successful election. We could maintain the current schedule and celebrate in honor of Emperor Dragocen on turn 28. Or, using your position as the Emperor's daughter, you could move the Jubilee to match your own birth star on turn 15. That could help cement my position as the next ruler in the eyes of the Empire. What are your commands? Well, currently our position is that, well, we have to get the elector's approval before we're actually Empress. So we aren't actually Empress yet. And we haven't even held a funeral. So keep the father's Jubilee. Let's keep things stable. The Jubilee should celebrate my father's birth star. I will make a note of it. See, he never tells me if I've done good or bad. He's complete poker face. I think that's a reasonable decision though, right? Excited! Domination. Is that something they say in Unreal Tournament? I haven't... it's been a long time since I played Unreal Tournament. I never played it that much. I don't even know. Alright, wrestling. And I want to learn more intrigue. And I need Imperial history. You learn to cross-reference intelligence files and understand alliances within individuals. You completed student-level intrigue. Ah. We've received a report from the Star Admiral. The fleet is preparing to resume regular patrols around the Empire. That may make him more difficult to contact. You can locate the fleet by looking around the map. Your Highness, I need your input on a matter of security. A largely unimportant matter, but one that you might wish to exercise discretion while handling. A visitor to the palace, a Hyrcan laborer, became publicly intoxicated and made a nuisance of himself. Among other things, he was loudly shouting that Emperor Dragocen had been murdered by your hand. What? Obvious drunken nonsense, but as it concerns your reputation, you may wish to take a personal hand in the matter. We have him in custody awaiting your decision. Obviously, you did not murder your father. Is it possible that someone did? Does this Hyrcan know anything? Is there truth in the wine, or is it just drunken rambling? Media, science. This guy doesn't know anything. He's a drunken idiot. If I punish him for slander, that's just... Well, I have no media skill. So... I have a feeling if I tried to punish him for slander, that would screw things up. You know, if I were skilled in media and intrigue, then I could do it. But the safest option, I believe, is punish for drunkenness only. People say foolish things when they've had too much to drink. Treating it like a serious matter would only look more suspicious. How would security normally handle someone being drunk and obnoxious? Locked up overnight and fined for causing an inconvenience? Do that then. I mean, yeah, wasn't that reasonable? That must have been reasonable. No, it's reasonable. Reasonable. Okay. Now, let's see. What I really need is an Imperial History Advisor. Does anyone here know Imperial history? He might. Vater might. Wait a minute. What advisors do I have? Lord Chancellor, Bureaucracy, Imperial Treasure, Intrigue, Spiritual Advisor, Military Advisor, Logothete of Law, and Logothete of Culture. Logothete of Law is my Imperial History. So, I could offer him... Well, the funny thing is, I made Ksenia my advisor, and it immediately said, oh, she's your external curator of galactic relations. So, if I offer somebody an advisor position, do I know what position I'm offering them? This guy, music athletics. This guy would music or athletics. This guy's probably a logothete of culture, right? He's the media guy. If I offer him an advisor position, he'd probably go for media, I think. That sounds right to me. Let's go ahead and save. So, I'd like to offer this guy logothete of law. I don't think I don't know much about Zolot. Let's investigate him. Zolot's father never married. Zolot was the only child of his favorite concubine, a winged beauty of unknown family. Zolot was a pampered child, raised to use his looks for his advancement, and as an adolescent married a much older man who is now deceased. Sounds like a gold digger. Zolot's inheritance and control of the electoral seat has been challenged by his elder half-sister Sertra in a bitter rivalry since childhood. For many cycles, Zolot has been engaged in a scandalous romance with one of Sertra's concubines. He's repeatedly offered to buy the boy's contract and been denied. Man. Zolot is only doing that to mess with her. That's my take on it. Like, you're just stirring up trouble, dude. Recently, Zolot proposed marriage to Svetka, a woman from a respectable American family. She accepted, and a lavish ceremony is being planned. However, his intended bride is actually Sertra's lover, whom Zolot has lured away as part of a scheme against his half-sister. This guy is trouble. He's stirring the pot. Zolot's plans are unclear, but the odds are high that if this wedding, if it actually happens, will lead to some dramatic confrontation between the rival siblings. Blackmail option unlocked. That guy is an idiot. Although he sounds like he's quite cunning. So, there's that. Right. Who do we not know about? We've investigated backgrounds of everybody. All right. This guy... What happens if I just... Well, I don't have social skills. All right. I'm going to offer a cabinet position so I can learn Imperial history, and I hope this guy gives me Imperial history. If he doesn't, I'm going to reload my save. So, you arrange for a private dialogue with Vater and lay out your offer. In exchange for your electoral vote, I'm willing to grant you a role within the Celestial Ministry. You'll be one of my closest advisors with influence on Imperial policy. I would be happy to give you advice on many subjects, Your Imperial Highness. Did you have a particular role in mind? Logothete of Law. Yes, I would be happy to serve you in this position. I will make preparations so I can be available whenever you have need of me. Thank you. You've elevated Vater, Elector of Andro, to the position of Logothete of Law. He will now travel with the palace. He grants Zorana an Imperial History skill of 50. You've unlocked Analyze Voting History. Good. That is just what I needed. So, Analyze Voting History. So, I believe I have his vote. Voting for Zorana, yes. That was a deal that I made. Okay. Right. Can I... Alright, is anybody else skilled? Because... Logothete of Law, Logothete Culture, Economics, Science, Military, Spiritual, Lord Chancellor. Bureaucracy. He's been embedded in Twin World society since before he could walk. Languages, literature, and debate. Huh. Motivational. This guy is tailor-made to be a logothete of culture. So let's do that. Affected by elector approval. You attempt to arrange for a private dialogue with Lugomir, but he won't return your calls. Oh, now that is interesting. He won't return my calls. 0G trampolines. Did they play Kosho? 0G trampolines would be difficult. They really actually would be difficult. Because the interesting thing is, I actually, when I was younger, I played on a trampoline a lot. I have experience with trampolines. And it's the gravity that keeps pulling you into the trampoline that makes, that lets you bounce. If you had 0G trampolines, like maybe a room that has all trampolines on the sides, and you bounce from one to the other, but then you'd be in 0G, and you'd be like, if you're flying through the air in 0G, there's nothing you can do unless you have an engine. Objects in motion will tend to stay in motion. All right. Anyway, now that I've overanalyzed that, I want to do social. I've been looking for social all this time. So, you invite some of the residents of the palace to meet you for drinks and conversation. Yay. All right, I got one check mark. I made progress. Wait a minute, where is the fleet? The fleet's at Draug. Okay. 1, 2, 3. The electoral, there are a lot of votes in Heru, but I want to stay in Merca for a while. Princess, have you seen the latest news across the star feeds? I just got up. This concerns your father. The Vestark beckons you closer to look at the feed display. The sound has been muted, but on the screen you can see an unfamiliar Mercan woman cradling an infant. The text scrolling across the bottom reads, Emperor Dragosten's secret heir? This woman claims to have conceived the Emperor's son and requests the palace's aid in claiming his birthright. Who is she? Is that one of my father's concubines? You don't recognize her, but you can't say you remember every face in your father's harem. That was not an area of his life you paid much attention to. No. An unmarried woman of common family and middling income. She apparently came into contact with the Emperor during one of his visits to Andro. The child's genetics have not yet been verified. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl claiming I am the one. The kid is not my son. Even if her story is true, if she's not a wife or concubine, the child was never officially acknowledged. And it wasn't. Your father's will is quite clear. He has no son now. Such a baby has no birthright to claim. Under imperial law, family is a matter of contract and obligation, not genes. Many children are not genetically related to one or even both of their parents. Children can be conceived artificially. Genes can be edited before birth. If someone finds an unscrupulous doctor, genes can even be stolen. Creating a child of someone's genes without their permission is illegal, but it does happen. Especially with celebrities or other prominent figures. I think I'm a clone now. There's always two of me just hanging around. Anyway, your father was certainly prominent. That's what she said. This story is nothing but tabloid gossip. No one in the Empire would seriously imagine this baby was the heir to anything. But, if it is in some way your father's child, what are you going to do about it? Whoever this woman is, she's Mercan. That means the child's heritage is not mixed in the way that yours is. There are people in the Empire who might prefer a pure-blooded heir, but those people are idiots. Traditionally, inconvenient relatives of noble families have often been encouraged to join the priesthood in order to remove them from the succession. See, I'm all... Vater is already paying dividends. He's already given me those Imperial History skill checks. That's great. Bureaucracy student fail. Ignore the story. Command the child be raised by a temple. Adopt the child yourself. Huh. Well. Huh. Huh. Well, this is interesting because there were a couple. There's a bit of a contradiction there because she said that family is a matter of contract and obligation and not genetics, which does make sense to me in this setting. This is a setting. Family is a matter of contract and obligation, not genetics, which really doesn't. Well, all right, that's another story. But and then she says traditionally, inconvenient children were sometimes sent to be raised in the priesthood. But, I mean, it doesn't matter if the child is inconvenient. Well, is this the safest option? You know what? I'm just going to ignore it. It's nothing but sensationalist scandal chasing. Bad journalism. Baby doesn't matter. There may not even be a baby. How do you know she's not a doll she's holding? Ignore the whole thing. Very well. If that's resolved, I have an update on the drunk Kirkin who slandered your name. He has not repeated the offense since his release. It's not clear if he even remembers it. No sign of any new rumors in circulation. Wow, she was quite thorough. That's dealt with. You have studying to do. Right. All right, I definitely want empathy. I definitely want empathy. In fact, I want lots of empathy. Student level empathy. You receive a report from the Imperial Thresher. Her agents have heard rumors that Mazarin, the rogue shadow that served your father, was sighted en route to the Twin Worlds. Well, we're here. However, none of these rumors came from anyone who knew him well enough to be certain of his identity. By the time agents were dispatched, the former shadow was nowhere to be found, if he was ever there at all. There's no cause for concern. The Thresher will continue to monitor the situation. Okay, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay. So this has been fun, but I think I'm going to stop here. I think I'm going to stop here. And this is a complicated game, but I'm very impressed with it, actually. I'm impressed with the detail. And it really gives me the feeling of being thrown into an empire.